Fusion Mobile, quality e-learning experience on the go.
Okay, so now we're back to the reproductive system. Reproductive system or reproduction. What is reproduction? Reproduction is the process of bringing forth new individuals. It ensures continuity. There are basically two types of reproduction, as I've said in some previous classes. We have sexual and we have asexual. Asexual simply means bringing forth new individual from a single parent, one person. From one person, you bring forth new individual. But now we're not talking about person. We're going to talk about person when it is cloning. But we're not talking about person. Sexual involve the male and the female gamete. The male gamete is called the sperm. The female is called the egg. When they fuse together, they form zygote. The zygote undergo mitosis. It forms the embryo. The embryo have membrane, the amnion, the chorion, the allantois, and all that. We've dealt with it in the previous classes. And so, the male reproductive system, we have testes. What is the function of the testes? The testes produces sperm as well as testosterone. It produces sperm as well as testosterone. Testosterone is the male hormone. It produces sperm as well as testosterone. What the seminiferous tubules? What is the function of the seminiferous tubule? Seminiferous tubule produces seminiferous tubule is a sperm producing tubule. It's a sperm producing tube. Is a sperm producing tube. So the sperm is produced in the seminiferous tubule. Don't be carried away. The sperm is produced in the seminiferous tubule. It is stored in the epididymis. The epididymis stores sperm. The sperm is moved. It stores sperm temporarily, not permanently. It stores sperm temporarily. The sperm is moved from the epididymis via the vas deferens or the sperm duct. Then it gets to the seminal vesicle. It gets to the seminal vesicle where it is now stored until it is needed, until it is action time, until it is time to play. It is stored in the seminal vesicle. The seminal vesicle secretes semen. The seminal vesicle secretes a fluid on it. It secretes a fluid on the sperm that is being produced. Now, aside from the seminal vesicle, we have the prostate gland. The prostate gland is connected through several tubules to the urethra. As well, we have the Karpal's gland. The prostate gland activates the sperm. The prostate gland activates the sperm. The Karpal's gland produces a fluid. Take note, the prostate gland produces a fluid, a semen, as we may call it. The Karpal's gland produces a fluid as well. The fluid of the prostate gland is to activate the sperm. The fluid of the Karpal's gland is to neutralize the permanent site where they are going to. Recall, the sperm is going into the vagina. The vagina is acidic in nature. So the Karpal's gland secrete a fluid that will increase the pH, thereby neutralizing the acidity. So when the sperm gets there, the sperm can feel at home. Are you with me? So that's the function of the Karpal's gland. Then we have the urethra. The urethra is actually a combination of tubules, as the case may be. The urethra carry out a function, a urinogenital function. It carries a urinogenital function. That means we use it, it connects urine. Urine actually passes through there, and the sperm also passes through there. Then lastly, the urethra opens into the penis. The penis is an intromittent organ. Don't be carried away. The penis is an intromittent organ. It carries out two functions, urine and for intromittent into the female genital tract during copulation. I'm sure you understand. So now we are going to be moving straight into the female reproductive system. So now we're going to be looking at another interesting part. The female reproductive system. The female reproductive system. We looked at the male reproductive system. Now the female reproductive system. And number one on our list is the ovaries. Usually we have two ovaries in the female. The two ovaries are in the female. They are very close to the abdominal region. So they secrete the egg cell. Are you here? Now the egg cell stays at the outer layer of the ovary. The outer layer of the ovary is called the germinal epithelium. It's called the germinal epithelium. So they stay at the outer layer. This is where they develop. This is where they develop. Generally, this is where they develop. Don't forget. And now this egg, alongside the surrounding masses, they form what we call the Graafian follicle. While the Graafian follicle along the line will secrete estrogen. Estrogen is the female hormone. We've talked about that. There's something for the development of the female. Now, don't forget, this estrogen also regulates what we call the menstrual cycle. The menstrual cycle. Now, which usually takes place monthly, 28 days. Menstrual cycle, when the egg will be released, and when the egg did not get to see sperm, the egg dies, and so they undergo pain and all that. Are you with me? So that's egg maturation, 28 days. Now, what the fallopian tube? The fallopian tube is also called oviduct. It's also called oviduct. Most times you see a diagram like this. That's the fallopian tube. It opens the kind of hand, sort of. This is where the egg will stay. So the egg, the fallopian tube receives the egg. It receives the egg. It receives the egg, and the egg develops here. So that's what we call the fallopian tube. What the uterus? Now, when the egg is fertilized, it becomes zygote. And so the zygote gets into the uterus. The uterus is also called the womb. So the zygote gets implanted in the womb. The implantation of the zygote the implantation of the zygote in the womb is called implantation. We call it implantation. That's the procedure whereby the zygote gets implanted against the wall of the uterine, the wall of the uterus inside the womb. It's just like when the baby is in the womb. So the womb is referred to as uterus, and implantation is the process by which the zygote is now in the womb. Now we have the vagina. The vagina, it's the muscular wall. Okay, I can call it here. It's the muscular wall that receives the sperm. It receives the sperm from the male. Don't forget, it receives the sperm from the male. It is also called a birth canal. For those of you that don't know, babies don't come out through the anus. They come out through the vagina. Yes, you looking at me, you came out through the birth canal, the vagina. Interesting. As the babies come out through the birth canal, which is vagina, are you with me? Come out through the vagina. The vagina also receives sperm. Now we have the cervix. What's the function of the cervix? The cervix control the opening and the closing of the vagina. Are you with me? They are a ring of muscle. They are a ring of muscles rather. A ring of muscle that control the opening and the closing of the vagina. What is the vulva? The vulva is the external features of the vagina. Everything you can see outside at the vaginal region is called vulva. Everything you see. And so there we have the labia majora and we have the labia minora. We have the labia majora and we have the labia minora. Now these are foldings found in the vulva, and when you see vagina, you see muscles, something like layers, so they are foldings. So we call them the labia majora, and we call them the labia minora. And now one thing you need to know is this: the cervix regulates the opening and the closing of the vagina. Are you with me? The vulva is the external features, those things you can see in the vaginal region. That's what we call the vulva. Then we have the clitoris. The clitoris is the stimulant itself. That is the most sensitive part in the female. The clitoris is the most sensitive part in the female. Most time when the male is aroused, or when the male feel a urge for sex, you see the penis will stand. What happened? There is inflow of blood. There is a great pressure of blood flowing through the glands in the penis, and so when there are blood, it will stand. Are you with me? For the female, when there are blood, it gets stronger. It becomes stiff. The clitoris becomes stiff when there is enough blood there and when they are aroused. Are you with me? And so the next thing that will happen now will be ejaculation, and they will live happily ever after. With this, I will come to the end of the class. Some questions will pop up on your screen. I try as much as possible to attempt it. I appreciate your effort thus far. I appreciate your contribution. I appreciate you staying glued to the TV and watching this. It's been an impressive time out with you. I appreciate you staying glued to the screen and watching this, the whole event as it unfold. I appreciate you adapting to my nature, my speed and all that. I really love you. Stay cool.